What if I told you that a boy whose Kenyan father abandoned him, who grew up so confused about his identity that he changed his name to sound more American, stood in front of millions and said, "Yes, we can," and became President of the United States? This is the story of Barack Obama, and what you're about to hear proves that your heritage is not a limitation, it's your superpower. Barack Hussein Obama Jr. was born on August 4, 1961 in Honolulu, Hawaii. His mother, Stanley Ann Dunham, was a white American woman from Kansas. His father, Barack Obama Sr., was a black man from Nyangoma Kogelo, a small village in Kenya. Barack's parents met at the University of Hawaii. They fell in love and got married, but the marriage didn't last. When Barack was just 2 years old, his father left to study at Harvard University and never came back to live with them. Young Barack grew up without his father. He had only one photograph of him and stories his mother told. His mother would say, "Your father was brilliant. He was the first person from his village to study in America. He was special." But Barack wondered, if he was so special, why did he leave me? Barack's mother remarried an Indonesian man named Lolo Storo. When Barack was 6 years old, the family moved to Jakarta, Indonesia. It was completely different from Hawaii. Different language, different culture, different everything. In Indonesia, Barack attended local schools. He was one of the only kids who looked different. He was darker than most Indonesian kids, but lighter than black kids. He didn't fit anywhere. Kids would ask him, "What are you? Are you black? Are you white?" Barack didn't know how to answer. He was confused about his identity. When Barack was 10 years old, his mother sent him back to Hawaii to live with his white grandparents and attend better schools. His mother wanted him to have opportunities. But going back to Hawaii meant leaving his mother and stepfather behind. Barack felt abandoned again, first by his father, now by his mother. In Hawaii, Barack attended a prestigious private school called Punahou School. Most students were wealthy and white. Barack was one of very few black students. At school, Barack felt out of place. He wasn't black enough for the black kids, he wasn't white enough for the white kids. He was mixed, and in the 1970s, being mixed was confusing. To fit in, Barack started calling himself Barry instead of Barack. He thought Barry sounded more American, less foreign, less African. He played basketball. He hung out with friends. He tried to be normal. But inside, he was struggling with who he was. As a teenager, Barack started reading books by black authors, Malcolm X, James Baldwin, Langston Hughes. These books helped him understand the black experience in America. But Barack was also angry. Angry at his father for leaving. Angry at feeling like he didn't belong anywhere. He started hanging out with the wrong crowd. He experimented with drugs and alcohol. Barack later admitted, "I was trying to fill a hole in my soul. I didn't know who I was." His grandparents were worried. They didn't know how to help him. They loved him, but they couldn't understand what it felt like to be a young black man searching for identity. After high school, Barack went to Occidental College in Los Angeles. It was there that he started to find himself. He met other students who were thinking about social justice, racism, and identity. For the first time, Barack stopped calling himself Barry. He reclaimed his name, Barack, his Kenyan name, his father's name. He later said, "I realized that running from my name was running from myself. I needed to embrace who I was, including my African heritage." In 1982, Barack transferred to Columbia University in New York City. He studied political science and international relations. He was trying to figure out how he could make a difference in the world. After graduating, Barack moved to Chicago and became a community organizer. He worked in poor black neighborhoods on the South Side, helping people register to vote, fight for better housing, and access social services. It was hard work, the pay was terrible, but Barack loved it. For the first time, he felt like he was making a real difference. But there was still something missing. Barack had never truly connected with his African roots. He had never really known his father. In 1988, at age 26, Barack decided to go to Kenya. He wanted to visit his father's village. He wanted to meet his African relatives. He wanted to understand the other half of his identity. When Barack arrived in Kenya, he traveled to Nyangoma Kogelo, his father's village. He met his grandmother, Sarah Obama, whom he called Granny. He met aunts, uncles, and cousins he had never known. They welcomed him with open arms. They slaughtered a goat in his honor, which is a sign of great respect in Kenyan culture. They told him stories about his father. Barak learned that his father had been a brilliant economist who worked for the Kenyan government. But he also learned that his father had struggled with alcohol and died in a car accident in 1982. Barak cried. He cried for the father he never really knew. He cried for the pain his father had carried. He cried because he finally understood that his father's absence wasn't about him. It was about his father's own struggles. That trip to Kenya changed Barak. He came back to America with a sense of peace and purpose. He knew who he was. He was African. He was American. He was both. And that was okay. Barak then went to Harvard Law School, one of the best law schools in the world. He excelled. He became the first black president of the Harvard Law Review, a prestigious position. After law school, Barak returned to Chicago. He practiced civil rights law. He taught constitutional law at the University of Chicago. He married a brilliant lawyer named Michelle Robinson, who would become his greatest supporter. But Barak had bigger ambitions. He wanted to serve in public office. In 1996, Barak was elected to the Illinois State Senate. He served there for 8 years, working on healthcare, ethics reform, and criminal justice. In 2004, Barak ran for the United States Senate. Nobody thought he could win. He was young, he was black, he had a foreign-sounding name. In post-9/11 America, having the middle name Hussein seemed like political suicide. But Barak ran anyway. At the Democratic National Convention in 2004, Barak gave a speech that electrified the nation. He talked about unity. He talked about hope. He talked about the American dream. People across America watched and said, "Who is this guy? He's incredible." Barak won his Senate race in a landslide. Then, in 2007, Barak did something that shocked everyone. He announced he was running for President of the United States. People thought he was crazy. He was only 46 years old. He had been a senator for only 2 years. He was running against Hillary Clinton, one of the most powerful politicians in America. Critics said, America will never elect a black man named Barack Hussein Obama as president. It's impossible. But Barak believed. His campaign slogan was simple: "Yes, we can." The campaign was historic. Young people, old people, black people, white people, Latinos, Asians, everyone came together. They believed in Barak's message of hope and change. On November 4th, 2008, Barack Obama was elected as the 44th President of the United States. He was the first African-American president in American history. When the results were announced, people around the world cried. In Kenya, his grandmother's village erupted in celebration. In Chicago, hundreds of thousands gathered in Grant Park, chanting, "Yes, we can." On January 20th, 2009, Barack Hussein Obama placed his hand on Abraham Lincoln's Bible and took the oath of office as President of the United States. Over 2 million people stood on the National Mall in Washington, D.C. to witness history. It was the largest crowd ever assembled in the capital. As Barack stood there, he thought about his father from a small Kenyan village. He thought about his white grandparents who raised him in Hawaii. He thought about his journey from confusion to purpose. As president, Barack served 2 terms. He passed healthcare reform, helping millions of Americans get insurance. He rescued the economy from the Great Recession. He ordered the operation that killed Osama bin Laden. He advocated for climate change action. But beyond his policies, Barack Obama's presidency meant something deeper. His very existence in the White House told young black kids, "You can be anything." His African name in the Oval Office told the world, African heritage is not a limitation. When Barack left office in 2017, he was one of the most respected leaders in the world. Today, Barack and Michelle Obama continue to inspire through their foundation, their books, and their voices. Barack Obama's story teaches us powerful lessons. First, your name is your identity. Never hide it. Barack stopped being Barry and embraced his heritage. Second, absent parents don't define you. Barack succeeded despite his father's absence. Third, identity confusion is normal. Barack spent years figuring out who he was. Fourth, service leads to purpose. Community organizing gave Barack direction. Fifth, the impossible is only impossible until someone does it. America said it would never elect a black president until it did.
From a confused boy holding a photo of his absent Kenyan father to the President of the United States. From changing his name to Barry to fit in, to making Barack Hussein Obama the most powerful name on earth. Barack Obama proved that your African heritage is not something to hide, it's something to celebrate. That identity confusion can lead to incredible strength, and that yes, we can. So, what did you learn from Barack Obama's story? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. If this story inspired you, hit that like button and subscribe for more incredible African success stories. Thank you for watching, and remember, your name, your heritage, your story, they are not obstacles, they are your power.